Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this year the Obama administration requested $1.2 billion less than last year's appropriation.
Just a minute. Will the staff please pass these out? Please proceed.
They go here. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Chairman, the Obama administration requested $1.2 billion less than last year's appropriated level for missile defense, and the amendment that's being passed out restores that funding. This amendment also lays out the threat from short, medium, and long-range ballistic missiles and includes the following policy statement, quote, "It shall be the policy of the United States to continue development and fielding of a comprehensive, layered missile defense system to protect the homeland of the United States, our forward-deployed troops, and our allies against the near-term and increasing short, medium, and long-range ballistic missile threats posed by rogue nations such as North Korea. These missile defenses shall consist of national and theater missile defenses, but neither should come at the expense of the other. It should also be the policy of the United States to continue developing systems designed to intercept missiles in the boost phase of flight in order to defend against developing sophisticated threats." Mr. Chairman, the underlying bill here plusses up theater missile defense, but it does so, as we've discussed, at the expense of national defense. And, Mr. Chairman, I support funding the defense of our allies, but not at the expense of defending our homeland. This is why this amendment is specifically addressed to the need to fully fund our national defense system and to in place all 44 ground-based interceptors. You know, when one considers recent events, the missile defense cuts in this bill become very disturbing. North Korea and Iran's nuclear programs and long-range ballistic missiles pose a near-term and increasing threat to the United States. North Korea demonstrated a long-range, multi-stage ballistic missile in April and followed through on a provocative threat to conduct a nuclear test in May. Recent reports indicate that it may be preparing to launch an ICBM capable of reaching the United States. On February 3, 2009, the government of Iran successfully launched its first satellite into orbit, an act in direct violation of United Nations Security Council resolutions, and it clearly shows progress in mastering technology needed to produce ICBMs. At a time, Mr. Chairman, when the threat from Iranian and North Korean long-range ballistic missiles to the American homeland has increased, this bill, I want to say it again, this bill reflects a decrease in our ballistic missile defense budget. This is dangerous and short-sighted. Mr. Chairman, the ideal time to intercept enemy missiles is in their boost phase, before they are able to deploy countermeasures, decoys, or other issues. Among many more important reasons, however, this bill also decimates our boost phase defense budget and eliminates other programs meant to defend against sophisticated threats, even though, according to the Missile Defense Agency, quote, "Adversary nations are increasingly adopting technical and operational countermeasures to defeat missile defenses. For example, China, Iran, and North Korea exercise near simultaneous salvo firings from multiple locations to defeat these defenses." Close quote. Mr. Chairman, this is why this amendment is so important. It also funds the airborne laser and the kinetic energy interceptor. It also funds the multiple kill vehicle, which will address the threat from multiple warheads and decoys, and the space tracking and surveillance system, which will track threat objects from space. Finally, Mr. Chairman, we've never received an analysis that should have been completed before the administration came to the conclusion that these cuts were wise. It is clear that appropriate analysis, including analysis of the threat, was not adequately considered. This is why this amendment, which will restore these funds, is so important. The funds here will be offset by decreasing the amount for defense environmental cleanup by $1.2 billion, to be derived from sites that are projected to meet regulatory milestones ahead of schedule or at the greatest risk of being unable to execute Public Law 111-5 and Fiscal Year 2000 funding as planned in Fiscal Year 2010. Now, I'd just like to be clear here on the offset. This Congress has already appropriated money for this purpose, namely $5.1 billion in the inappropriately titled American Recovery and Investment Act. And this bill authorizes another, in addition to the $5.1 billion, another $5.5 billion for environmental cleanup. There's a great irony here, Mr. Chairman. The Obama administration's cut to missile defense will eliminate 11,000 American jobs. And if we falter in our responsibility to provide America with a robust missile defense system, There could come that day when we face a truly disastrous environmental cleanup from a chemical, biological, or nuclear warhead landing on our own soil. And Mr. Chairman, I would, with that, urge my colleagues to vote yes on this amendment and yield back.